What's up, Notjust developers? Welcome back to a new live stream. Today, we are going to continue building a chat and video calling application in React Native and Expo. So if you don't know, in the previous live stream, we have built the chatting functionalities of our application. And in this video, we're going to focus on implementing the video calling feature and also the push notifications to notify the users when they receive a new message or when they receive an call. Everything is done using Stream Chat, which provides the chatting and the video and audio calling functionalities. And from the tech stack, we're using React Native, Expo Router, and for the backend, we're using Stream and Supabase for our custom functionalities for authentication and so on. This series is sponsored by Stream. Thank you very much, Stream, for making this possible. And if you're ready, I think we can get started. And in a second, I'm going to show you what we already have. So let me show you a quick demo what we already have. Here is our login screen. The authentication is implemented using Supabase. So I can go ahead and create an account, and then I can go ahead and sign in. Also from the authentication point of view, we also can manage the profile, upload a picture, set like some different details. And after that, we are able to chat with people. By going here, we see all the users in our application, and by clicking there, we are starting a new chat with them. And here on the list, we have all the chats that we are part of. So we can go somewhere here, and we can also see like videos being sent. Like here, we see messages. We can react to messages. We can reply. Hey, we can send GIFs. And we can do everything that you would expect to be able to do in a chatting application. So all this power is provided by Stream Chat. And we are also going to use Stream Chat today for the video and audio calling functionalities, because I would like to be able to also start a video call with people in this application. So if you're ready, I think we can get started. And if you want to follow along, there is also the source code. The link is going to be in the description below under the Telegram clone. So you can download, you can clone the repository and then update the environment variable with your Stream API key, with your Supabase URL and the Supabase key. Then it's going to connect to your system, to your Supabase and Stream, and you're going to be able to follow along and continue together with me building this video and calling application. Hello, everyone who is joining us live. How are you doing, guys? By the way, before I get started, we just launched, today we launched the landing page of our upcoming course, which is called React Native Mastery. I'm working very hard on it. Like this week was crazy. I'm probably on the 5th or 6th coffee today because I've been working on this website to make sure that it's ready today. So you can go ahead, explore more like what this course is going to include. We're going to cover the best stack for building mobile applications. And the most important part is that you're going to build 7 unique applications. They are designed specifically for this course, and it will take you step by step from very beginning to very advanced and help you master building mobile applications with React Native and Expo. There is a lot of topics that we are covering here. You can check them out. And this is just the surface. Like in fact, like we're gonna do even more. So if you're interested, make sure to join the waitlist, because we are planning to open very few spots for early access during the June to allow people to join early and get access to the course as we're building it. I'm already working on the second project, and by June, we're gonna have at least 3 projects. So stay tuned, make sure to join the waitlist to be notified about that. And yeah, I'm gonna keep you updated of the progress of how it is going there. Perfect. Now back to our tutorial. Hello everyone who is joining us live. James, Enes, Michael, Barry, Aditya, hello. Lucas, Rogelio, how are you doing, guys? All right, so let's get started with our video implementation. For that, I'm gonna go ahead on stream, getstream.io, and under developer, I'm going to go under video and audio. And here we're gonna go to the documentation for React Native. So let's open up the documentation here. You can read more about that on this page. I'm gonna go right away into the installation and under Expo because we are using Expo. Because the video calling feature will use WebRTC, we are going to have to create a development build for Expo to be able to use native code. So I'm gonna show you how to do that as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and install the dependencies. I'm gonna copy all of these dependencies from here. Let's go to our project. Probably I'm gonna zoom in a bit. And let's install all the dependencies. So what are these dependencies? First one is React Native Video. This is the Stream Video SDK that is powering everything. Then we have React Native WebRTC. This is how the data, the connections between the server and the client is being created so that it can send back and forth data for the video and audio. Then we have a React Native in-call manager. This package is going to help us manage the calls and also display using the native call UI on iOS that someone is calling us. This is a feature that I saw on Twitter a lot of people are waiting. React Native SVG for SVG, net info to know if we're connected or not, and the notif feed to manage the notifications, and also to keep calls alive in the background on Android. Okay, so there is also some specific installation steps that we're gonna follow in this installation guide. Make sure to also follow it together with me because if there will be some updates, you're gonna see them here. So yeah, the documentations will be updated, and if you're watching this video later, maybe double check here like what are the new setup. But here, the first thing is that we need to change the Android target SDK to 33, and we're gonna do that using the Expo build properties config plugin. So let's see if we already have it. I'm gonna open app.json, and under the plugins, we don't yet have the that plugin here. So I'm going to actually copy it. I'm gonna copy this array because it should be written as an array. So after Expo router, we have an array where the first is the name of the plugin and second is the object of the configuration that we need to send there. And I think that we don't have Expo build properties installed. Let me just double check that. Yeah, we don't. So what I'm gonna do, I'm going to install them now. I'm gonna do that using npx expo install and then Expo build properties. Okay, it was installed. Now it should work perfectly here. I hope it's gonna work, but I believe it will. Plugin not found. We'll see. I believe it's going to be okay. So let's go next. We need to add first of all, the stream video React Native SDK, and we're gonna add it after this array is closed. Let's add it as a string. So we need an array only when we have additional configuration, because if we don't have additional configuration, we can also simply add it as a string. Now the next config plugin is going to be for React Native WebRTC. This needs configuration, so it's going to be an array. Let me copy it and add it afterwards like this. Okay. This is setting the iOS permissions for microphone and camera. And for Android, we will have to manually ask to request permissions. So we can do that using the permission Android from React Native. So let's copy this use effect somewhere inside our root layout. So I'm going to open source, application layout, and in the root layout, I'm going to ask for permissions. Let's import use effect from React. Let's import platform from React Native here, and permissions Android also from React Native. This is going to ask permission for post and for Bluetooth. Okay. Next. Okay, here we're gonna go through some troubleshooting guides, because at the moment, if we run it like this, we might encounter some issues. But to fix them, we're gonna follow this guide. So if you're using Expo SDK 50+, most probably there will be an error saying something about expression must be either null or a function. So that is a problem because event target, this library, is not compatible with React Native WebRTC. So to fix this, we have to simply tell Metro how to load this library. If it's requested by WebRTC, load the version 5, otherwise load the default version. To do that, I'm gonna copy the whole file. This is the metro.config file. And I'm gonna copy this code. Let's copy it like this. And at this moment, we don't yet have a metro.config file. So let's go ahead and create one, metro.config.js. Is that correct? Metro.config.js. Yeah, and let's paste the code provided from Stream Chat. If you already have a Metro, make sure to add like this logic in your Metro configuration for the resolve request. And I see that Suhayabka donated. Thank you very much. Let me pop out the chat. Thank you very much for the donation to celebrate their first Super on live stream. Awesome. Appreciate it. All right. So what's happening here is we are providing some configuration for how Metro is going to resolve files. So we are going to check like if we are trying to import the event target shim, and if we're doing that from WebRTC, then we are going to use the v5. Otherwise, we're going to leave it like that. That's how we should understand this file, but hopefully everything is going to work fine, so we don't have to change anything there. So Android only. For Android, there might also be a problem with the Notify library, and you can check like that under this error, under this issue. It's coming from Notify actually. So what we have to do is simply we have to provide the path to the Notify React Native package. So I'm going to copy this path from here, as you can see, the extra Maven repos, and I'm going to add it under the Android configuration of our in-app.json. Under the Expo build properties, under Android, here at then I'm going to say that, hey, there is also some extra Maven dependencies that you should take from Node modules, Notify, React Native, Android libs. Okay, what's next? And I think that's it. Yeah, the last one is saying that we, for now, like for the React Native in-call manager, we need to target version 33. That's what we have here. But again, double check, like especially this troubleshooting guide later to make sure that in the future, this is still like required, because in the future, it might be fixed in the downstream packages like Notify or WebRTC, so you might not have to do these steps. But anyway, here we have it. And the last step is to go ahead and create a development build. Creating a development build means that we are going to build a native side project, and instead of using the Expo Go application that loads our JavaScript application, we are actually going to build our own custom version of Expo Go, and we're going to run our application in that version. And by building a custom version of our Expo Go, that means that we can use any native code, which in our case it's coming from the WebRTC and maybe some other dependencies that we just added. So in order to have that, we're going to follow the next steps. First of all, I'm going to run npx expo prebuild. What this command is going to do is it will generate the iOS config plugins WebRTC relative failed to resolve a plugin. Something wrong with the plugin, config plugins React Native WebRTC. Let me see in app.json this one. Maybe we should install it separately. So let's try npx expo install and the name of this plugin, config plugins React Native WebRTC. And most probably we're gonna need legacy peer dependencies, right? Let's go ahead with legacy peer dependency. So I'm gonna run npm install with -- legacy peer deps. And now it installed. And now if I'm gonna go ahead and do npx expo prebuild, this command, yeah, again, config plugins React Native WebRTC. Plugin not found. Come on, where is it coming from? WebRTC. So do I have it in here or not? It was not installed. So I will have to actually install npm install config plugins then -legacy, or maybe better to do npx expo install config plugins and then -- legacy peer deps, so that we go through expo and it will select like the dependencies that we need. Now if we look in the config here, we see that we have this config plugin. Good, and in app.json still doesn't realize that it's there, but let's try again to do npx expo prebuild. What this is going to ask us is the package name for Android. So let's just go with the default one, and the same, the bundle identifier for iOS. Let's go ahead and do that. So what this command is doing is it's creating the native side folders for Android, as you can see here, and for iOS. The npx expo pre-build, and then later when we're gonna build it, like we're doing this everything locally, but you can also generate this development client by going to Expo Development Build. You can also see how you can do that with EAS build. And this is helpful whenever you don't have Xcode and Android Studio set up locally. You can do that in cloud using EAS build. But in our case, we are doing it locally using Android Studio and Xcode. So the pre-build is finished. And if I do here git status, we see the Android and iOS folder. A good rule of thumb for which Expo refers to as continuous native generation is to add the iOS and Android folder in your git ignore. That means that if I add it here, that means that we are not going to submit it to our source control, but instead we are going to always pre-generate them. And this way we're going to, and also if you never touch them manually, never adjust like iOS and Android configuration manually, you should be good to go, and your application is going to be able to pre-generate on anywhere, like based on your, for example, app.json and the rest of the configuration from here. So yeah, I excluded it from there. And last step is to actually build it. Pre-building just simply generates a folder, and now the next step is npx expo run iOS will actually build our iOS project. And you're gonna see that after this is done, we're gonna have a new application on our device. And the first build usually takes a bit more time because native builds take longer. That's why I love working with Expo Go. But later, like, we're gonna have it, so we're not gonna have to rebuild it every time, only after adding new libraries that have native code. So let's wait. Felipe is asking, did he start the project now? This project was, we started it in the previous live stream. You can check it out on the channel. And in that one, we have created the chatting functionalities. Now we're gonna add video calling functionalities to this application. Not sure if I'm running it. Yeah, probably I'm not. Hey, thank you very much for becoming a channel member. We have a new supporter here. Thank you, I appreciate it. And by the way, if you enjoy the channel and if you are learning React Native, then that's exactly what we do here. We are helping you master React Native and Expo and building mobile applications in a fun way by building real projects. So if you want more of that, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That helps us a lot. Thank you very much. And if you're new, welcome here. Yeah, here is our chat application that we had before. Is there a way to make apps, I watch apps with React Native? To be honest, I haven't tried that, but most probably you should. But that's a good question. I know that you can do, you can build applications with React Native for a lot of devices. You can build it like, the most basic one is Android and iOS, and the next one is obviously web. You can do that for web as well. But you can also do for Windows and Mac OS. We have a tutorial on that. And also you can do that for Vision OS, for TV OS. That's definitely possible. But for iWatch, I don't know. Should check it out. So my computer, I feel that there is some lag, right? Not sure why. Maybe the lag is while we are building the native side project. Yeah, the stream is a little choppy while it's compiling. Yeah, most probably. Let's hope that it's gonna get back once finished. It shouldn't take longer. Oh, so Hayamka is saying, I was here since 15K subscriber and learned a lot from you, which I work a full-time job now. Thanks a lot. Thank you, I appreciate that. You're an early subscriber. Okay, so we have our application built and we're already trying to be open on our emulator. And we see that it's trying to open in Telegram. If I do open, what is going to happen? It's going to open it here. So now I can go ahead and sign in. Notjust.dev A12. And here it is. Everything is working as it was working before, but now we are no longer inside Expo Go. Now we are in our own development build, and now we can use features and native code, any kind of native code that you can imagine. So that's the power of Expo pre-build. And if you're still thinking that it's not possible to do something in Expo, probably you're wrong. That was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Nowadays, everything is possible. And it didn't take us a lot of time. Pre-build to create the native side projects and then run iOS to build it and then run it here. Maybe it's a bit more challenging to set up all this environment setup because you need Xcode and Android Studio. But then if you have it ready, like it's really, really easy. Okay, so now that we have our stream video installation done, let's go ahead under the quick start and try to have our first call in our application. And I think it's not going to take a long time. Like you're going to see how easy it is. First, I want to go ahead in the application, in the source app, where we keep our Expo router files. Do you see the whole screen? Yeah, maybe like this. And under the application, under home, which is for our authenticated user, let's go ahead and create the same way as we have a channel folder. Let's go ahead and create a new folder called call. Inside the call, let's create the index.tsx. And from here, let's export default function call screen. And let's return simply for now a text saying call screen. The text should be imported from React Native. So let's go and do import text from React Native. And let's try to do the following. Whenever we, from the index, instead of redirect to login, I'm going to redirect actually to /home/call, so that we go, and if I reload the application to go back on the index file of our application, come on, reload. Why I don't want to reload? Reload. Why we're here? Because index goes to home/call. This layout, the user is not yet there, so it redirects probably here. In the off here, home. So for the call, let me figure something out, just how to get there easier, because as we can see from this index is not correct, because the layout will navigate to off, the off will navigate back to /home, and the first route in /home is our tabs. But if I do here as the first route, not /tabs, but channel, how do you get here? If I comment out the tabs, what's going to happen? Nothing, because it's still there. Maybe, yeah, channel/index, I think. Let's try, not channel, but call I wanted. Unmatched route, call/index. What am I doing wrong? Home, call, index. Sitemap. Call/index.tsx. /index.tsx. That's how you want it. If I do that, because I made a typo there, and now if I reload, still unmatched route, come on. From index here, probably I'm gonna keep it off. How is it? Off. Oh boy, I'm still here. So anyway, the easiest way is going to be in the tabs under the index, which renders our chats. I'm going to simply say, hey, please, for just a second, redirect me to href/home/call/index. It still doesn't want. Let me try to stop the server. I think if I'm gonna do npm start, I believe like there is something with a cache. If I do npm start now, we see that we are still using Expo Go. So we need to press S to switch to a development build. And if I press S, we see development build here. So now I can go ahead and press I to open it back on iOS in this application. Am I missing something very obvious? Okay, /call. I didn't need index there because index is the first screen. So if I do that here, why it was not working in other places? Well, I don't know, but I'm good now. I simply navigated from the tabs index. I navigate to the call so that we can see the screen while we're working here. But later, we're gonna delete later. Okay, so actually I'm gonna go ahead and commit everything. Install stream video SDK and create a development build. Okay. Now that we have this index for our call screen, we are ready to go ahead and follow the quick start guide. This quick start guide is going to help us create and join our first call. Let's go ahead and follow the documentation. The first step is going to be to define a lot of variables like the API key and so on. So I'm going to do that here. This user should come from video React Native SDK. Video React Native SDK. And let's go ahead and set up some of these keys and user IDs. For now, it's going to be hard-coded. Later on, we can go ahead and we're going to improve all of this code. But for now, we need a quick start. We need to see something. So for the API key, we can go ahead and take, I think we're going to take it here because it's the same API key. So it's going to be process.env, because we have in the env this expo public stream API key. Let's take it from there. For the user ID, let's go ahead and maybe from the dashboard, you can console log it probably, because we also need the token. So for now, I'm gonna go into our providers. For the chat provider, we are connecting here using profile ID and then using this token provider. Let's go ahead and console log here this information so that we can use it by hard coding them, and later on we are going to properly console log. And now we need to call the token provider like this using a wait. So if I open the terminal where the application is running, we see these two logs. The first one is the user ID. So let's copy it in our call under the user ID. And the second one is the user token. So let's copy it under the token like this. Now for call ID, we can leave it like this, and all the information, all the data is ready. Let's go ahead to the documentation, see what's the next step. The next step is to create a new stream video chat and create a call and then join that call. So let's take this from here and go ahead and join this stream video chat. We need the stream video chat from Video React Native SDK, and that's it for now. Stream video chat doesn't exist, but we already created it. Perfect. And as we can see right away, we get the model that asks for permission for camera. So let's go ahead and allow. And now for microphone. This is happening automatically from the stream video chat video client. It's handled for us. We don't have to do it ourselves. Okay. In the return statement, we need the stream video component and then the stream call. Let's copy these two things. And instead of returning the text, let's render the stream video, which is going to provide our client. And we make sure to import it from also from this library, from the Video React Native SDK. And the stream call, I think it's also from there. Okay, we have provided the client, we have provided the call. Now it's time to render something. And to render something, it's as easy, like I'm not gonna follow the documentation because there is an even easier way. We can use the call content component imported from React Native Video SDK. And here we have it. We see a lot of users and it's the same user just because we didn't properly connect here. Like we're going to improve that in a second. But that means that we're already there. We see all the users and we can connect there. Amazing. If you want to see also some video on the screen, because the emulator doesn't have video, we can go ahead in our stream dashboard under our application. Let's go to the video and audio overview, and let's press create a call. We can create this call in the browser. We can enable the video. Hello there. Hopefully it's not gonna mess up with my stream. And here is our call. We can take this call ID, and from the mobile application, we can connect to the same call by simply changing the call ID variable here. Let's go ahead and change it. Come on. Like this. And what we should see, come on, load. We see here the participant. Let me try to reload. Oh, because from the website, I also have to join the call. This is just a preview. So if I join the call and mute, come on. I need to go and mute myself on the device because it's picking up my microphone and that's why you can hear it. But here it is. Here is the video call we have here in the browser. We have two users connected to the same call. They're talking and you can see all of this here. You can mute, unmute. You can close the video, open the video, you can turn the camera, but it doesn't work on the emulator. If you run it on your physical device, it's going to work. So that's how easy it is. Then I can go ahead and probably leave a call. I'm not sure what's going to happen because we're still rendering the call, so it's frozen, but we're going to fix that later. But from the browser, we see that we actually left the call. So that's how easy it was to create and join a call with all the functionalities that you'd expect a call to have. How amazing and how easy was that? That always amazes me whenever working with Stream Chat. It's super easy for the chat, and we made the same things easy for video, which I thought it's so complicated. But yeah, if we go into the Explorer under the calls, we already see the two calls, the one with my call ID and the one that we joined there from the browser. Amazing. What do you think about that, guys? Isn't it impressive? How do you set up a group chat? For example, when someone is creating a group and the users can publicly access this group. You can do that as well by creating a group using ID and then inviting users. All of this is documented very well in the documentation of Stream Chat. I'm not sure if we're going to have time for that, but if we do, maybe I can show you how we can accomplish it. Okay, guys, so now we have our basic configuration. Let me go ahead and do git status, git add video call quick start. Now we're gonna have to improve this code to make it reusable, to actually be able to create call on demand with different users, to set up the stream video client properly, not here. So yeah, just step by step improving this, because with this tutorial, like what I'm trying to do is provide you with a very close to a production ready setup that you can take and implement in your application, so that you can, it's not just going to be a short demo, like a quick start that would crash or that would not allow you to do a lot of stuff, but will actually help you set up this in a production ready way. So let's go ahead and do that. I think, give me a second. I need some oxygen here. Hey, more people are joining. By the way, how is the stream health like? I mean the live stream. Everything good so far? Okay, so we have that, we have that, we have that. Now we're gonna go ahead and extract the setup of our video client into a context provider so that we can do it at a more global level and in a separate file. Similar to how we set up our chat provider in a global function here. So let's go ahead and start by creating a new provider called video provider.tsx. Let's export default function video provider, and this provider is going to wrap around other components, is going to wrap around our application. So that's why it's going to receive a property children, and we can also use TypeScript here using props with children. For now, let's simply return an empty component and render the children inside, and simply do here a console warn video provider, just for us to know that we are rendering it correctly. Let's go ahead and import the video provider in our application layout, and in the home layout. So in the home layout, because we need to make sure that the user is authenticated, and let's think, should it be inside the chat provider or outside chat provider? Yeah, I think it should be inside. It should be inside the chat provider. We are going to render the video provider like this. So now all the screens that are in our home directory will have access to the video provider. That comes from our provider's video provider. And we see the log here, video provider. That means everything is good so far. Let's go and implement the video provider. And here our goal is going to be to set up the client. I'm gonna look into our call screen where we created the client, and we're gonna have to do something similar, but now in the video provider. Well, first of all, we're going to have a state where we're gonna keep the video client set video client, use state, initially is going to be null. And as long as the video client hasn't been initialized, we're gonna return a activity indicator just to prevent the application from running without a video client. So now we see the activity indicator at the top, which can also be style equal flex1 and align. I will put it in the middle of the screen by putting it into a view, flex1 and align items center, and justify content also center. So now we have activity indicator here because we didn't initialize the video client yet. When and where we're gonna initialize the video client, we're gonna do it in a use effect. And initially is going to be empty dependency array. So let's do here init video client is going to be an async function. And let's right away call this function to initialize the video client. So how do we initialize the video client? It's going to be this way, client equal and so on. We need the API key. The API key, I think, is the easiest one because the API key is going to be from the environment variable. So I can import it and type it at the top. API key is there. The token is also easy because we already have in the utils, we have this token provider that is doing the request to our Supabase functions to generate server-side our token. And in the chat provider, we see that we simply gave it to the token provider. Let's do the same here by providing here the token provider. And the token provider is going to be imported from there. Now, lastly, it's the user. The user, I'm going to look at our chat provider, and it's going to be kind of similar, because we need for that ID, name, image. So they are gonna come from the profile, and the profile is going to come from use of. So first we need in the video provider, here inside our video provider, we need the profile from the use of. We need to put the profile in the dependencies here, because when the profile changes, we want to reinitialize the video client. And we don't need the console logs here in the chat provider. I'm gonna clean them up a bit. Yeah, that's going to be the user. So let's do const user equal to this ID, profile ID, name, profile, full name, and for the image, Supabase get avatars. But we need to also check if there is no profile. Yeah, let's do that right in the use effect, even before declaring the function. If there is no profile, then don't do anything, because that means that we didn't load the profile yet. What else we're doing here? Set is ready, connect. Okay. And as I see, we are going to add the profile.id here instead of profile, because the profile might change, but the ID, we are going to keep track of ID. Like if ID changes, only then we're gonna reinitialize the video client. And now that we created the client, let's set it in state. Set video client with this client. Okay, it's rendered correctly. And lastly, we need to return something from this use effect. And in the return statement is where we're going to do the disconnection. So we're going to check if there is a video client, then we're going to call video client dot, how's it called? Let's check. I think it needs this type so that we have type definition. In the use state, let's provide the type stream video client or null. Stream video client coming from here. And video client dot disconnect user, like this. So that whenever we are going to try to connect to a different user or a different client, we're going to make sure to disconnect the previous one, so we do not have situations where we connected to two different users. Now in this Now, what do we do with this video client? Because instead of just connected, we should also use it with, where is it in the index, with a stream video component to provide it to the rest of our application. That is the whole point. So here, the children, we're going to wrap them in the stream video client component. And for the video client, we're going to use the variable video client. Now let's make sure to import it from React Native SDK here. Is it like this? Oh, it's stream video, not stream video client. Sorry for that. Stream video, the component is called, and it should be imported from video React Native SDK. And the property is client. Client. Now, from our call screen, we are safe to remove this client from here because we initialized it globally in our provider, and our call screen is a child of our home layout. And because we are using the video provider in the home layout, now our call screen will have access, will be inside that video client component. So we don't need to create a client. We can get the client using the context. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that. Use video client. Oh, we can do client here. So this way we're just simply getting access to the same client, and I can do this call inside here, which is not very correct because we are going to join this call over and over again as we are re-rendering the component, but for now, like, it's good. I just want to clean up a bit here the things that we no longer need because we moved them to a separate file. like the token, the authentication keys, and so on. We just need to handle the call here and not the client. We separated the logic so we can keep everything clear like this. Now if I'm gonna reload, well, is it gonna work? Yes, it works and it joins the call. Perfect. That means that everything is handled correctly right now. So again, we created a video provider in which we initialize the video client with all the credentials and the user information, and we use the stream video provider to make sure that the other screens in our application has access to this video client. Now from our call screen, call index, we are getting the client using the hook and then joining a call. So this screen only handles logic about calls and not about client any longer. Okay, so let me go ahead and do a git add, git commit -m, video client provider. So what's going to be the next step? I think the next step is going to be to actually start a call between two different users from our channel screen. So I'm going to go into the tabs index, and here where I redirect to the call screen, I no longer need to do that. So I can go first to the home screen here. So what I want to do next is, if I go to one of these users, I want to have a call button at the top right, and whenever I press that button, I want to create a call and join the call with that user. Let's see how we can do that. I'm gonna go into the home. This page is inside our channel CID. This is the channel by ID, and it renders the channel. And what I want to do here, let me check the layout. CID has options. Let me CID. Can I add here a stack dot screen with options with a header right component? For example, initially it's going to be a simple text, hello, just to make sure that it works. Text. I forgot that this should be an arrow function, and we need to import text from React Native. So if I go to one of these channels, doesn't work, because in fact, like if I go to the channel layout here, we see that we have this header shown false. If I do true, the hello is going to be to this stack. But I'm not sure if we actually need a stack here. Yeah. What if I simply remove the layout completely from the channel and make the channel part of the home layout? If I go now here, let me see where we have tabs, index, on select channel push channel / channel ID. And why it doesn't work? Weird. Okay, it works. And it has the back button and it has the hello. So yeah, the channel didn't actually need the layout for now. And by simply removing it, it's now part of this layout. So whenever we are rendering the stack.screen with header right inside the channel, it's going to add the component here in the header. We can also probably change the title to channel or chat or something like that. And for the icon, let's go ahead and search an icon. Expo, vector icons. And let's search for a call icon. Should it be this one? I don't know. Looks good. I'm gonna import it at the top. And I'm going to render it in the header right of our stack screen. Instead of this text, I'm gonna render the icon with maybe green. Doesn't look very good. Okay. And what do we want to do here? Whenever we press on this icon, we want to have a function here, const join call. Let's call this join call function whenever we press on the icon. And just to double check if it's connected correctly, I'm gonna console warn join call. Let's press OK, join call. Let's go ahead and see how we can create a call, because the first steps are going to be create a call using the channel members, because the channel can have 2, 3, 4 and more members, and we want to call everyone in this channel, and then navigate to the call screen. So navigate to the call screen is easy. It's going to be router dot push / call. And if I do that, we are gonna be navigated to the call screen. But how do we do the first step? How do we create a call using the channel members? Let's have a look in the documentation. I'm gonna go to stream video documentation, and here are some core concepts. Joining and creating calls, that's what we want. Okay, the first step, creating a call. And we can create a call by specifying its call type and call ID. The call type controls which features are enabled, and it sets up permissions. You can reuse the same call multiple times. And as an example, if you're building a telemedicine application for appointment, using your own appointment ID as the call ID makes it easy to find the call later. Yeah, that's true. Like if you're integrating this in another application, and for example, you are creating some meetings or you're creating some appointments in your application, you can have the same ID as your meeting to be assigned to the call, and then you can join that call at any point in time, and you can easier find it. So that's good to know. We're gonna use these kind of things later. Join call, create and join a call, leave and load, update, call creation. Here, the following options are supported when creating a call. We can specify a list of members. So, okay, I'm gonna do that in a second, but for now, let's first create a call by doing this. Client.call, the call type, and the call ID. For the call type, I'm going to use default, but we need the client. This is the video client. As you saw previously, we need the video client to be imported, this is the chat client. We actually need the video client. So let's go ahead and import video client using the use video stream video client hook. Now we can use video client in the join call to actually work with the video client, not with the chat client. So we are creating a default, and then the call ID can be 123. If I do that and then press on this button, it should create that call ID. So I'm gonna go into my dashboard. Not sure why I was. I'm gonna go into the applications, under the calls, under the Explorer, and I want to see if that call was created. So if I go to the create, to the calls, it was actually not created. Yes, because we actually need the next step. We need to actually call the create call. Await, call, get, or create. So this was missing, and this should become a sync now. And now if I press and go here, reload under the calls in the Explorer, we should see the new call 123. But we want this ID to be automatically generated, to be a random ID. For that, I'm gonna use Expo Crypto to generate unique UUIDs. So let's first install Expo Crypto in our application. I think I'm gonna go back. npx expo install expo crypto, and I think I'm gonna keep using the legacy peer dapps. Make sure that the other dependencies are still not crashed and colliding with each other. Now having the expo crypto, we can import it like this in our application. At the top, and using crypto, there is a function called random UUID. Crypto.random UUID. This should generate a random ID for our video client. Cannot find module Expo Crypto. That's because Expo Crypto has native code, and now we need to do again npx expo run iOS. This will look at the packages that were installed and install them natively so that we have access to them. The question, can we run this on Expo app, or do we need to configure a dev client? The chatting part, you can do this in Expo Go. The video part requires native modules and it requires WebRTC. So when you get to the video part, only then we create a development build. And in this video, a bit earlier, I showed how you can do that. It takes 2 commands and you can do that yourself. Hello, George. Question, how long have you been a programmer? Oh, very good question. I don't know. I already stopped counting, probably more than 10 years. Definitely more. 10 years ago, I think I had already my first startup. Hello, what's the spacing under the chat input? How do we fix it? That's probably coming from our own safe area view. Just to make sure that the input is rendered not behind like this notch from iOS. Maybe we can make the background white so the safe area under the input matches. Yeah, I think that would be a good approach. You see it here. Our application rebuilt, and now we can use this crypto. Let's actually check that first. I'm gonna again create a new call. And if I go into the Explorer, we have these 3 calls, and the last one should be one with a random ID. Yes, it is. It has this ID. At the moment, it doesn't have any members, as you can see. So we need to add some members here. To add members, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dynamically look at all the members in our channel and then add them to this call. So let's find that. So we have channel dot. How do we get the members? There is channel dot state dot members. If I console log that, and look in the logs here, what's gonna be the log? Let me comment out everything else except this part until we are done. So I'm gonna press on this button. Come on, reload. I'm gonna press on this button, and we see these are the object that we are rendering from our channel state members. And the way it works is it's an object where the key is the ID of a member, and then we have the information about the member. And then there is another key somewhere and another member. Maybe we can do that with json.stringify if it's going to allow us. Null and then 2 indentation. Let's see. Yes. So this is the first object with the ID here, and this is the second object for the second user, which represents the 2 users that are in this channel. So based on this information, we need to send somehow to the call these members. Let's see how we can do that. We're going to do that through this data, but let's go ahead, scroll down until we see what's the expected type. Members, a list of members to add to the list. You can specify the role and the custom data on these members. But what exactly is the type? Set call members. Members is an array of objects with user ID and then role. User ID. So from this object, I'm going to take only the values and put them into an array. That is going to be done using, come on. So we have members, which is an object. I'm going to do object.values, and by calling it on these members, we're gonna get an array of members. Let's see that in action. Now this is an array of 2 objects. So we have this user ID. That means that we don't need all the data. So the members are going to be this one dot map. So let's map for every member and return the user underscore ID from member dot user underscore ID. So we're only going to keep the user ID from the whole data that we know about users. I don't need anything else for now. Okay. So having these members, let's just double check console log members, I'm gonna remove this one. Let's check the structure of this array. It's an array where we have two objects with user ID and the ID. That's exactly what get or create call in the data expects for the members. So let's go ahead and do that by doing get or create, and let's send here the data, and the data expects members that we have generated, defined here based on the channel members. So now if we do that, it's going to redirect to the new call screen. And if I go ahead in the Explorer and reload to check the latest call that was created, which is this one, we're gonna press on the members. We're gonna see that we added two members here. Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to create a channel and add there the members that are part of the, we wanted to create a call and add there members from that channel. Okay, that's good, but it's not done yet. So let's do a git commit add. Create a video call with channel members. Ashutosh, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Maybe it's also a good idea to do this in a try catch. I don't know. But the problem is that whenever we do that, we are redirected to the /call router push /call. If I go into the /call, we see that currently we are joining here a call with this ID. We're not joining the call with ID that we just created. So that's not good. We need to join exactly the call that we are currently part of. One way would be to maybe add an ID, the similar how we have channel with a dynamic path parameter ID on the call, and then redirect to the call with that specific ID. But I'm thinking we are also going to have to listen to incoming calls. And whenever an incoming call appears, we will have to redirect there. Actually, it's not a very bad idea to have ID part of this route, you know? Because even like with listening to calls, we can redirect based on the ID. So let's try to do that. Let's try actually to do that. For the call, to add it, to have like the ID as a dynamic path parameter, let's go ahead and change the name from index to ID. Now, whenever redirecting here, we're going to receive the ID from the use local search parameters. And we can say that the type is ID of type string. And then we can use this as a call ID, and we don't need the hard-coded one. Now let's go ahead in our channel CID, and when we redirect to the call, we need to redirect to the call /, and here we need to provide the ID to redirect to a dynamic path parameter, like this. And then we have call dot ID. Let's see if I go here and then press on this button, we are redirected here. There is a promise. Participants not found. Call CID message. Let me see. No route call index exists. Where did we do that? Call index. In the layout. Here, call index. Let's remove it altogether. We don't need it for now. Let's try to reload to see if it's gonna work. If I create it, it goes, it connects, and I think it works because it didn't raise any issues. Okay, I think it works. And the only way to test it is to probably go ahead and also build it for Android, and then, or maybe for my iOS device, and then sign in with a different account and have a call between the two phones. Let me try to do that. Meanwhile, to build it for my iOS device, I connected it with a cable, and then I'm gonna do npx expo run iOS, and then --d to select the device. And here is my device, and it's going to run the build for my physical device. There is some high frequency noise. Is it still there? My live stream should also start lagging a little bit until it's building. And once it's built, but no, while it's still building, let's think about something. We're gonna now have two devices that are going to try to call each other. From the device that is making the call, it's clear when we get on the call screen, because when we press on this button, we create the call and then we do router.push. But think about from the perspective of our device that is going to receive a call. Who is going to do this router.push? Because that user is not pressing any buttons, like he's just using the phone. Later, we're gonna implement notifications, so he might receive a notification. But for now, there is the other user, even though he is going to receive a call, in our user interface, we never show it to them and we never navigate him to that call. So what we have to do actually is we're going to provide, we're going to use also a provider, or maybe like a listener, a hook. I don't know, like call it. It really depends, like what we want to do with it later. Like if we want to display something on the screen, like, hey, you have an incoming call, or if you want to automatically redirect. So just to keep it like very flexible, I'm going to create it as a provider. That provider will keep listening to incoming calls, and if there is an incoming call, it's going to automatically redirect us to the call screen. So let's go ahead in the providers and create the call provider.tsx. Let's export default function call provider. It's going to receive children for the same reason as we explained before. And for now, it's simply going to render these children. Let's go ahead and, yeah, like maybe we can do console warn call provider. Now let's go ahead in our app home layout And inside the video provider, it must be inside the video provider, because in the call provider that we're gonna render here, we will need access to the video provider. So here, call provider. So from the call provider, what we can do here to listen to the calls, we can use a hook called use calls that will give us access to all the active calls. So we can keep them inside calls here. So what we can do with that is we can say, let's take the first call. For now, we're only going to support one active call at the time. And let's also create a use effect that will say if call changes, if there is no call, return. Otherwise, let's just simply console warn there is an incoming call with ID, and then let's do call.id just to keep listening, and whenever the call, we have an incoming call, it's not actually incoming, it's going to be there is an active call with ID, because even if we created the call, it's going to be here. These are for the active calls. So what I can do, maybe I can do it from here, but I don't need to do it from here because my application is already running. So I can log in with another account. I'm logging in here with another account. I'm not sure if I have it. Forgot the password. Should be test at, give me just 1 second. Okay, I'm here and my name is simply test. I think it should be this one. So let me try to do what? To call this device, but you should also see the device, right? So let's do media. Just 1 second. Let me share my phone screen here. Here it is. So if I'm going to, from the simulator, call the test account, we see there is an active call here. So something is happening. Let's try to, we see that on the device from this call provider, we got this call that we have been added to. So we can simply redirect to that call for now. Maybe later you can display some user interface, like to allow users to decide like if they want to join or not. But for now, router dot push / call, and then the ID of the call that we just want to join, call.id. Okay, let's try it again. I'm gonna hide a bit just to double check everything. I have on my physical device this one. And here we have our call on both devices that have been connected. Okay, I can leave it like this and then leave a call. I can do the same here and leave a call. So you can see the whole approach here. From one device, I'm navigating to the chat, or maybe I will go to this user, and it's gonna go to the chat with that user. I can generate a call, and from my physical device, it will automatically add me there. Maybe not, because what did we do here? Call. Participant not found. Participant not found. What did I do there? When joining the call, there is some problems. Test. Call. Okay, now it works. Hello. And then I can leave from here, and I can leave from here. And the second time I do this, for some reason it doesn't work. Yeah, I think I know why it doesn't work. But I think that the previous call is still running. And to prevent this from happening, for example, even if I reload, and if I join a call, we are navigated there. Oh, there is an active call with ID. And if I go back, there is no way to go back to that call, which is actually still running. So there should be a way for us to go back to that call. And without some UI to display it, we're not going to be able to do that. So I'm thinking that from our call provider, where we're keeping track of the current call, I think it would be smart to render some user interface that, hey, there is a call. Not exactly sure how you can think of a better approach, like how to do it on the UI. In my case, I'm going to keep it very simple, just saying that rendering a view here that will have a text, call, and then, I don't know, we can say call.id, active call ID. Let's import, but it's going to be a pressable because we will want to press on that call to go back there. And let's import text and pressable from React Native. Pressable and text from React Native. Cannot read property ID. It's only going to be whenever the call.id. I'm gonna add it later, just I want to style it for a second. So let me do it like this with question mark. The pressable, let's style it with position absolute, with background color, I don't know, light green or pale green or something like that. And I think the children will be rendered above this pressable so that we can see it. Okay, for the position, we want it to be rendered I don't know, top 50, maybe top 70, or better to take the insets, which is the size of a header. So use safe. Do we have a safe area context? From safe React Native safe area context, use safe area insets, and this will give us access to the size of a header. And we can take the top inset. I can use that for my position absolute, top, plus, and I'm gonna add plus 50 or something like that. What's the size of the header? I don't know, something like that. I'm gonna do left 10, right 10, and padding 10. And just like that, like I'm not gonna think about something to improve the style of it. I want it just to be functional. Active call. And now that we have some basic UI, let's render it only when there is a call. Only when there is a call, an active call. So I'm gonna put it call and render this one. Now, lastly, whenever I press on this thing, I want to be redirected to on press. I want to be redirected router.push to the call with the call.id. Okay, let's try right now to see what's happening. So if I'm going to go to this user, call him, we see the active call there. If I go back, it's still here. I'll mute myself. And if I press, I'm redirected back to that call. But the problem is that it joins multiple times, right? Which is not very good. We're gonna fix that in a second. And also, I don't want to show this one if we are already on the call screen. If we are already on the call screen, I don't want to render this active call. I can do that by taking the segments, const segments, from the URL, use segments from Expo router. And if I console log the segments, let's see what do we have whenever we go on the call. We have the first one is home, the second one is call. I'm gonna have a variable const is on call screen equal is going to be true if segments at position 1 is equal to call, right? Because the 0 is home, then it's call. Right? So we're gonna render this one only if call is active and if we are not on the call screen. And I think with the router.push, we should do the same. If is not on the call screen, only then redirect. Because if you're already there, we don't have to redirect. And for that reason, I'm going to have to add this variable in the dependency array as well. Okay, let's see right now. If I go here, we join the call. I can go back. Oh, whenever I go back, it redirects me back there. You know why? That's because this is on call updates, and we got here. So let's think how to fix this problem. It redirects me back here. We need to push only once. Like if you go back, then that's it. So should we just keep a state? Yeah, most probably that would be the easiest one. Or maybe we should not redirect at all and allow only by clicking on the top thing. Only by pressing on this one, we're gonna be able to join the call. Okay, but what's the problem with joining multiple times? Let's figure that out. That should be somewhere on the call ID, and here we are doing call.call. We are creating, well, we should not create because we are simply joining the call. There is echo. Why there is echo? So we go here. There is an active call. That's coming from this console warn from call provider. Let's delete it because if I go back, I'm gonna see the active call here. I can go back. Will it join it again? Hopefully not, or maybe. Yeah, it's joining it over and over again. Call ID. Join. Maybe we should check the status here to see if we are not joined already. Console log call dot status state. Let's check the documentation for what states can the call be in. Call and participant state. To observe call state, you need to provide call instance to the stream. Okay. Call state and the call hooks will provide. Use call. Use calling state from use calling state here. Let me display it from the call provider. Let me display it call ID, and then here in parentheses, I'm gonna render call dot state. No, it doesn't have state. Call state dot what? Should be calling state probably. Call state, calling state. Okay, let's see what do we have. If I do it here, okay, on my device that's idle. If I go back here, it's still idle. Come on, what's happening? Something that I'm missing. Oh, look what we're gonna do. Instead of us calling call join, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another component from instead of call content. If we look into the components here for the call, there is call content, which will display the content of a call. But there is also the incoming call, which will render the incoming call so that we can accept or decline it. But there is also the ringing call content, which puts them together. So ringing call content will handle displaying either the incoming call or the calling or joining indicator, and finally the call content itself. So let's render here, instead of call content, the ringing call content. And let's see how that will work. So if I go here, doesn't look very good, but we can initialize a new one, ringing call content. I think I created too many calls already. Yeah, I created so many. Let me go ahead and delete some of them if I can. Will I be able to do it from here? Because I believe some of them are still active. So that's why it might happen. Oh, I'm gonna have to end a lot of. But it shouldn't be the problem. Wait, because we are disconnected from that call. So the use calls hook should not give it to us. So that's why we don't see it at all. Okay. And if I go here and initialize a new one, we are connecting, and when we are connected on my device, it's like this. And if I go back and then press again, it connects again. Come on. There is some sound in the background. I'm sorry, like maybe it's because of the calls, like, and the microphone. If it's static noise, yeah. And hopefully it's only when I have an active call there. think we're just gonna have to leave a call whenever we leave a screen. And it's definitely something that I misunderstand here, joining and creating calls. Let's double check the documentation together. Get or create. I think we just need to do get, await get. Call dot get, yes, and not automatically join. That's what I was missing, and this should be done in an await. So for that reason, await call. Let's see that. And we need to await this get. So I'm going to do, let's try in a use effect. Const fetch call. It's going to be async. So let's do that here, and here await get. And then set it in state, const call set call. And after that, let's do set call call. Make sure to fetch the call whenever the ID changes. Let's see it now. And here, like, if there is no call, return, I don't know, activity indicator, or maybe even a redirect back. No, not a redirect back, but an activity indicator is good. So go here, go here, and what's happening? Come on. Call created, sent by the current. We don't even see the activity indicator. So if I do back join, it's going to work, but it's going to join every time. So maybe for now, I can do a return whenever you go out of here. We're gonna do call dot leave only if call is defined. So I think this should work. And if I go here, now it's gonna work. Loading, call is joined. Perfect. I'm gonna join from my physical device as well. Okay. My physical device is already there, but I'm not sure why you don't see it yet. Come on. Still the same problem. Vadim. Get or create, join call. Ending a call requires special permission. Load call. So maybe we should do get here. Get. And we're gonna join when we press on the call itself. From the channel. Let's try here, wait call.join. So now when we press the button, we create and join the call, and when we get on the screen, we just load it. Let's try. Doesn't want to work. Okay. Yes, now we are not loading new ones. But why with the ringing call content it didn't work? That's my question. You know? It crashed. Ringing call content. Let's use the build locate used to show more information about the as well as give you the option to cancel the call before anyone accepts based on the call's ringing state and a call type. Yeah, but why not? Usage, stream call. Let's try to get the call not from the ID but from the use calls. Maybe that's going to make it easier on our call page here. So it's actually going to simplify a lot of stuff. We can do const calls equal use calls, and then const call equal calls at position 0. Yes. And from the channel, I don't think I need to actually join it. I can ring the call first. So if I go here and then press, you see that, come on, why are not displaying it here? Maybe because of this? No. Ringing call content. I think there is some styling. Stream call, ringing. You can do the following. Calls. Ringing call. Yeah, this is a bit hard, but I'm figuring it out. Like I'm doing like a stupid mistake that I cannot that I cannot see. I'm gonna try one thing. I'm gonna try not to use the call provider for a second. In the layout, call provider, let's comment it out. And let's on the tabs index somewhere, I don't know, at the top, I will render here a text or a link from go to call screen. Just want to figure this out from Expo router. Let's import the link. href call. Here can be 1 to 3 because we are no longer using the ID there. So from one device, I'm going to actually go here. It still doesn't render it. channel ID, video call, get or create. Oh, I know why. I forgot a simple ring through property here to ring the call. Hopefully that's going to be the solution to all my problems. Because we don't just call it, but we ring it. Now, oh, finally, we're creating the call, but we were not ringing the call. So now here we see that we are calling. On my device, if I go here, we see that we are being called. And yeah, then the call stopped because the ringing happens for probably 30 seconds or something like that. Oh my God, a simple property that I forgot to mention, to specify, the ring. So now we can probably go back to some of the stuff that we were doing because we were doing it correctly. I think one of that stuff is in the home layout for the call provider. Then on the tabs index, I no longer need this link. For the call ID here, I'll keep it for a second like this, but I think it's going to be good if we go back to this ID. Let me check if instead of taking it using calls again, we're going to take it by ID, because taking it by ID will support us having multiple calls at the same time, not only one. So this is going to be done here. We're going to do fetch call, await get. Let's see that. If I go here, create a call. No, it doesn't work. But on my device, it says that it's ringing. So if I go here, still something doesn't work. Client call, await, call get, set call. Call client. Hold ID. Get. Okay. Then I'm not gonna bother for now with this approach. I'm gonna use this approach. By taking the first one. So for a moment, we're gonna support only one active call at the same time. Okay, here it works on my physical device. It didn't add yet. Did I call someone else? Okay, so now it works here as well. I can go and check it out, and I can answer the call, and when answering, both of them will be connected. I will mute myself so you don't see it. And now if I'm gonna go back, this is state joined, so I can join back, and it doesn't join it again. Finally, So I can go back and forth. I can use the application, but I'm still I'm still there. This movie record, this is kind of slow, but it still works. And as you can see, even if I left that screen, my camera is still working. So I can say hello, and I can go back here to see it and maybe close the camera, open it up, so on. Nice. So now it's working perfectly. If I'm going to press leave here, it's going to leave correctly. And if I do leave here, it's going to get into this state. Probably we can subscribe to check if there is no call. We should not be on this screen in the call ID here. And we no longer have ID. So I'm going to simply do index here for now. So if there is no call, we don't even want here. We want to do redirect, href, I don't know, to the slash. So that means that when the call is going to be finished, we're going to be redirected back. Because I removed the ID, when redirecting, I'm going to do /call. And maybe not redirect. Maybe we should do back. Let's do it like this. If router can go back, then I'm gonna do router dot back. Otherwise, let's do router dot push to this, to the slash. So if it can go back, just go back to the previous screen. So now if I'm gonna call and then press this, I'm gonna be redirected back. Use call state outside the stream call. Where did we use call state? Was it in the provider? State. Use call state. I don't know where did we use that. Oh, probably here we need to simply return null, not to go here when we left the call. So now if I join and then leave, we are redirected back. And that will work even if the other user joined, but there is an error in the call provider. When we press on this, we should go to call and then just like this. Okay, so what's gonna happen now? We're gonna initiate a call. We're gonna ring it. The other user will receive this notification. He can press it. Then he can decline it. And in that case, both of them will go back. Or he can go ahead and say, okay, accept it. Both of them will connect. And if I leave here, and if I leave here, both of them are leaving the call. And we can do the same again. Maybe now from here, I'm gonna go here and call. Hello. Here it's ringing. We can say accept. We are both connected. And it also has the video. Perfect. Love it. So now our calling is working. This one is if you want to automatically redirect there, but you need to probably have a state like that will tell you like if you already did it once because you want to redirect once and then you don't want to redirect again. Maybe you can do that based on the call state. Can I do console log call dot state dot ringing state? Ringing, idle, ringing, join, and if I go back, it's joined. So I can redirect there only when it's ringing. So if callings, if it's not there and if it's equal to ringing, then redirect without this slash. Let's leave. Let's try again. And now I expect to be redirected to the call screen only when the call is ringing, but later I can go back, navigate the application without leaving the call. So let's see if that will work. If I press here, I expect to be redirected yes instantly. And if I am inside the call, and then I can go back and I'm not redirected back there. I can press to go here. Perfect. And because this is already doing that, I will not have to do it manually when creating the channel. I don't need to do it at all because it's going to be handled globally from that listener. Test, call, I'm redirected here as well. Hey, why I'm not? Yes, it works. Okay, so with that, I can safely do git add, git commit, create, and join video calls. Oh, that was tough. And everything because I forgot to provide the ring through, like the call is not ringing. So now everything is working perfectly. Okay, we're not done yet. We still have things to do. And I think that the next step is going to be to set up some notifications so that we can find when this is happening. But before that, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna take a new coffee so we can push through. And let me know what do you think so far. How is it going for you? I'm gonna be back very soon. All right, all right. Still here? Still ready to push through? Okay, let's do it. Aditi saying, great build. Thank you very much. Yeah, make sure to follow it along as well. Okay, guys, coffee is here. We are ready to continue. And our next step is actually going to be notifications. Notifications, the fun part. So what we want to do is we want to receive push notifications when, first of all, users receive a chat message. So for that reason, and by the way, Stream Chat integrates with notifications, and we just have to configure them, and then Stream Chat is going to send all of these notifications for us. We don't have to manually have to send anything. We just have to configure it and make sure that Stream knows about our tokens so it can send the notifications for us. So for that reason, let's go ahead in the documentation, and actually I'm gonna go into the on the Stream dashboard under the, where is it? Chat messaging. So let's first follow the documentation from chat messaging under React Native UI components. If we scroll down, there should be notifications, push notifications. We're going to select V2 because this is the new way in Firebase to send notifications. And we're going to follow this guide to set up and configure notifications. So let's go ahead, and for that, we're going to use Firebase. And inside the application, Stream Chat is using Notify library. But again, like, we just have to set up things. Here are some information. Push notifications are sent for new messages to all the channel members that have push notifications. Also for replies in the thread, or if you are part of that thread, or if you are mentioned. If the user is muted, you will not receive notifications for him. So all of this is actually handled by Stream Chat. Now let's go ahead under the Firebase project setup. We need to create, first of all, a Firebase project for our application. Let's press this URL. And here, let's go ahead and create a new project. It's going to be Telegram. Let's press continue. And disable the Google Analytics. We don't need Google Analytics for this project. Let's press create project. And our project is ready. Let's press continue. On this part, we need to register our Android and our iOS application with Firebase. So back on our Firebase, here under the getting started, let's press first on iOS. To register via iOS, we need to provide the Apple Bundle ID. You can find it under your app.json. If you go under iOS, here you're gonna see the bundle identifier. So let's copy that, let's paste it here. App nickname, Telegram is going to be okay. App Store ID, we don't have it yet, so let's press register. Make sure to download the file. We're gonna need it in a second. Okay, it's downloaded for me here. And we can move to the next part. And I think we are done. I think we can close this one. And we should see the iOS here. Let's press Add App to add an Android application. And the Android package name is also going to be in app.json under Android package, which in my case has the same package name. Let's give it here and the name Telegram. Let's register. And again, download this file. Okay, perfect. Next, we are done here. Let's go back to the stream documentation and follow this guide. We will also need to upload our APN authentication key to our Firebase project. So here is a guide how we can do that. Our APN key should be generated through the Apple Developer Center. So let's press on this URL. This will log in our Apple Developer account. Give me just 1 second. And on this page, we should see the certificates, IDs, and profiles. Let's press on the keys. And here, I already probably have it defined for Apple push notification. And in fact, like your account can only have one APN. So I'm going to revoke the previous one that I had and create a new one by pressing on the plus sign under the keys for the certificate identifiers and profiles. Let's call it Telegram. And let's enable push notification services, APNs. Let's press continue, register, and download this file now from here. To set it up, we need to go back to our Firebase console under the project settings, in the cloud messages, and in the APN authentication, add our iOS configuration. So back on our Firebase, let's press on this gear icon and go to project settings. Under cloud messages, we're gonna see here, what should we see here? Apple app configuration. Under the APN's authentication key, we have to provide because there is no auth key yet. So let's press upload. And here we need to drag and drop the last file that we downloaded here just now. It should be this one in my case. And the key ID, we're gonna take it from iOS where we generated the key. Here is my key ID. And the team ID, it's going to be under the membership tabs. So let's press on this URL. Team ID, this is the team ID here under the membership details if you scroll down. So let's press it here. Upload. Now Firebase will have access to APNs so that we can send the notifications through Firebase, and Firebase will use APN to deliver the notification to iOS, because Firebase, like FCMs, like Firebase Cloud Messages, are only supported on Android. On iOS, the notifications are going through APNs. But by giving this information to Firebase, we are able to use Firebase, and Firebase will basically redirect it to the APN using this key. So now here we are done with certificates. We are done. The first step, upload APN, is done. Now we need to set up and configure our application. For that, we need to install React Native Firebase and Firebase messaging. So let's just copy the name because you're going to use Expo install. Let's open the terminal and do npx expo install this name, and let's actually do the second one as well, the Firebase messaging, into the same command, and add the legacy peer depths. Okay, I think it worked. Let's continue. We need to set up Android application credentials and configure Firebase. Set up. If I press on this, is it on the same page? No, it will redirect us here. Let's see what do we need to do here. Where is the Expo? So from this documentation, we see that to configure it in Expo, we need to add the React Native Firebase module to the plugins array to enable Firebase. We need to create and download the service account. We already did that. Then provide the paths for downloaded Google services, and this one in app.json for Android Google. Okay, so the files that we downloaded it from the Firebase when we initialized iOS and Telegram and Android, those two files, let's bring them in our application. I'm gonna open it somewhere here. From downloads, I should have not the off key, but the previous two ones. It should be called Google Services. I'm gonna delete those numbers, and Google Service Info like this. We can go ahead and right away add them to the git ignore because these are files that should not be pushed to your repository, and the same for the second one. Git ignore here. And we need to go ahead in app.json and specify for iOS, we will provide the file path here. Google service file, it's going to be dot in this directory, the path to this Google service info with this name. So here we are linking this configuration service account, the credentials, to the iOS, and we should do the same for Android. I'm gonna add it somewhere here. Google service file, it's going to be dot, and the name in this case is Google services.json. This is for Android. If I look back in this documentation, Google service file, yes. Think we need this use framework static in the build properties, and here is a bit of an example. We did that. We did the Google service for iOS. For plugins, we need to set the Firebase application. So also in app.json under the plugins, somewhere here at the end, make sure that you are still in this array. Let's add the plugin for Firebase application, and also I think the plugin for messaging. Because we also install the messaging part. So I'm going to duplicate it and just simply say messaging here. And what else? For under the Expo build properties for iOS, we need to set use framework static. So let's copy this line And under build properties, we don't have iOS yet. So after Android, I'm going to say iOS. And we need the use framework static here. And I think that's it. We set up for Android, we set up for iOS. And push notification capabilities for iOS application. What's that? Let's see. I think it's going to be added by the messaging part. And actually we have like more details here, how to get, how to upload the credentials. Oh, no. So that was the first step. Now we need to upload the Firebase credentials to Stream Chat. Okay, that is going to be the next step. Let's actually go ahead and rebuild our application. And we're gonna do that using npx expo. We can do a pre-build to update the iOS and Android folders. And now we can do an npm npx expo run iOS to run it on this device, to build it and run it. Because we installed Firebase and we need to rebuild the project. While this is going to happen, the next step is going to we need to give Stream Chat access to our Firebase credentials so that Stream Chat can send notifications to our Firebase application. And then from Firebase, it's going to get to our devices, either through APN or directly through FCM. To do that, let's follow this documentation to get the Google Service Account credential. Yeah, so these credentials are used by Stream to call Firebase Server API. In Firebase, go to Settings, Service Accounts, and click Generate New Private Key, and then store the JSON file. Let's go. Let's go to our Firebase. Under Project Settings, under Service Accounts, let's do, is it here? Firebase admin, Service Accounts, click Generate New Private Key. I think it's this one. Let's generate new private key. Generate key. It downloaded the JSON file. You need that one because we need to upload the Firebase credential to Stream Chat dashboard. To do that, let's go to our project in the dashboard. Let's go to select our project, and under chat and messaging, here there is push notifications. And these push notifications are for both chat and video and audio calling features. So let's create a new configuration here. Let's select Firebase. Let's name it Firebase. And let's provide the credential JSON here. I think we need to copy paste it here. Yeah, go ahead and open that JSON file that you just downloaded and paste it here. I'm going to probably try to hide it, even though later I'm going to delete all of them. But let me try to copy paste it here. And then simply press create. Okay, now we should see Firebase push configuration successfully added. It's here. Now Stream is going to be allowed to send notification to Firebase and Firebase to our application. Let's see what's going on here. The build is still going, so I'm gonna go back and see what's going on with documentation. We're using API. This is how to upload the file with API, but we don't need that. The next step is going to be to register a device with Stream. That means that when opening a device, we will take the device token and give it to Stream, so Stream knows the token that represents one user. So whenever that user will receive a message, Stream will know to which device exactly should it send the notification. But first, let's wait until this is done. What is better, Firebase or Supabase? As a backend, like for backend features, I prefer Supabase. And we used it in this project for the authentication, but it also provides a database with a very nice client. It's on top of Postgres, so you can check it out. Phil is saying, I recently discovered your channel on my quest to build my own mobile application from the ground up. I'm overwhelmed by the amount of stuff I have to learn. Any recommendation how to approach learning and building at the same time? That's exactly like the best way, like as you said, like you have an idea, you have a project, you try to build it, and you learn something that prevents you to move to the next step. So if that's like rendering something, building the UI, you go ahead and learn more about that. So by having like a real project, by having like real problems, you're gonna easier find solutions. So continue on that journey. It takes a lot. Sometimes we wish it would be easier, but it comes with time. Can this be done with Expo push notifications? But Expo is still like integrating through Firebase. So with Expo notifications, which is a library to manage notifications locally, you can definitely do that. I'm not sure if with Expo notification service. But yeah, Expo notification service will still have to connect to Firebase. So I was explaining this to one of our incubator startups. Like at the end, the notification to get on Android, no matter what, it still has to go through FCM, Firebase Cloud Messaging. To get on iOS, it should go through APNs, Apple Push Notification Service. Then you can use only FCM so that you send it to FCM and then FCM sends it to APN. Then on top of all of this setup, you can put like Expo notification services. So you send notification to Expo notification services, Expo notification services is sending it to FCM, FCM is sending it to Android, FCM is also sending it to APN, APN is sending it to iOS. So in then like everything flows like this. And now we are adding, besides Expo notification services, for example, we are adding Stream Chat, which we are connecting to the same FCM. If that makes sense. Maybe a diagram would help understand this or visualize it. Okay, let's continue. So we have our application running here, but even if we're gonna try to send a message right now, nothing is gonna happen because Stream does not know the token, does not know that this user is using this device. So whenever he receives a message, we need to notify this device. In order to do that, we're gonna need to register that device with a token and first request permissions. So I recommend doing that in another provider called notifications provider.tsx. Let's export default functions notifications provider equal. We're gonna receive a children props with children, and let's simply for now return children. and of course a console warn to be sure it's rendered. Let's go ahead and import it in our application home layout because we want notifications to be enabled only after you are signed in. So here, I think it's going to be even above a chat provider, right? Yeah, because we need chat provider. Maybe not. Or maybe yes. Maybe not, or maybe yes. So notifications provider. Notifications provider. And we see that it was initialized. Perfect. Let's go to the notifications provider and implement the logic there to get permissions for notifications and then generate the token. So the first is requesting permission for push notifications. So let's create this function inside here. Request permissions, await messaging that should be imported from where? Import messaging from Firebase/messaging. Request permission, and if it's enabled, we're gonna say, okay, everything is fine. Now inside here, we're going to register the FCM token with Stream Chat server. Let's copy this use effect that we are having here. Okay, the use effect is even longer, like it's all the way till here. And we're gonna probably try to simplify it a bit. Request permissions, and after request permissions, I'm gonna have this long use effect. But as I said, like I'm going to simplify it a bit. For example, I'm not going to, actually it's going to be very simple in my case. I will only leave a token, get token. So let's remove everything here. We're gonna have this one, and that's it. I'm gonna remove the rest of this stuff from here. In the init, I'm gonna request permission and register push notifications. And that's it. I'm not gonna do this one. Set is ready. Yeah, let's keep track of is ready state. Is ready. Set is ready. False. And if it's not ready, I'm not gonna render the next part. So if it's not ready, simply return null. Now we don't need to return anything because we are not unsubscribing from that. We're not even subscribing, so that's okay. Client, the client. The client in this case is not yet initialized. So we will get it the same way as we get it in the chat provider at the top here. So we are simply going to get it from stream chat get instance in the notifications provider. At the top, we're gonna get access to the client by importing the stream chat here. Come on. Why did you stop importing correctly? Stream chat. So we get the client. Request permission is clear. Now use effect import. So we take the token, Then push provider is Firebase. The push provider name should be exactly the name that you provided here. So in my case, it's Firebase with capital F. And there you go. I showed my key. Push provider name. Here it is. In my case, that was Firebase. Firebase with and there is this set local device, but for some reason I used the add device. Let me check the documentation if it explains what's the difference between set local and add device. When a message is received, add device. Please note that add device call requires user token to be set on the client. So client add device call should be made. This is not true. I think it's a mistake. I think I gave him this feedback, or maybe I don't understand it correctly. And for some reason I used the add device, but it should be made before the connect user. So instead of set local device, which I'm not sure, maybe it's gonna work as well, but for some reason when I was preparing, I was doing client dot add device, and here we need ID, which is the user token. So let's do token. Then we need the push provider, which is going to be provide push. How is it called? Push provider, which was imported from our. Where is it? Oh, here. Then we need the user ID. So user.id, but we don't have a user yet here. Let's take it from const user equal use of user ID. And lastly, we have the push provider name. And that's how I added it there. And in the init set is already true when we call init. Yeah. So let's see if it will work. We see that it asks us for permission. That means that it generated this init. It got here to request permission, and we are getting this model. Let's press allow, and property provid doesn't exist. What? Provid. I think it was, I should reload it. Both secret and user tokens are not set. Either client connect user wasn't call or client disconnect was call. Why is this happening? But anyway, I think it's going to work. So let me try to send a message. But can I send it from here? Hey, send. Hey, look at that. We have the notification here. We're gonna have a notification if we look at here. We can press open, and we have a screen here. Perfect. That means that our notifications are actually working. Meanwhile, in the background, I'm going to go ahead and build for Android as well, so that we can later test it for Android as well. made after client connect in code. Maybe indeed I need to set local device ID, push. But in that case, will it connect with that user? Because one thing I can do is in our home layout, I can put the notification provider inside the chat provider. And in that case, the user will be initialized. But I think I was getting errors in this case. So let me try to do a reload. No, it actually works and it doesn't throw errors. So maybe we should do it this way. And maybe in fact, like I didn't understand this correctly. And it's in fact like should be made after connect user, the add device. And all the code that you saw there previously, I removed it, but make sure to check it out because that code is going to listen. Where is it? Is listen to on token refresh. So whenever the Firebase refreshes the token for a device, we are going to remove an old token from stream chat and we're going to add the new one. So this is actually a good code. Just make sure to adjust it for your needs. For us, it's going to work, but whenever it's going to update, like it's going to add a new token. So stream will send more notifications than actually needed. Whew. Hello, Javed or Haved. I'll have to look more into native wind UI. I haven't used it a lot. Native wind, actually. The recoil video. That was quite an old video. I'm not sure what happened with recoil, and it seems that Facebook forgot about it. Hey, Carlos. Carlos Jr. Hello. How are you doing? So I'm waiting for the Android build to finish, and I'm very happy that I just said that, but I'm very happy. But the error is actually not a big problem because it's just insufficient storage. So I'm gonna have to remove some stuff from my device. Let me remove some things here. My Android emulator is so slow. Probably I need to update it or something. Like I never do that. And let me try to do it again. This time I think it's going to be faster. And we can test another thing because we saw how messages are pushing a notification and we get here. But what if we call this user? We see test is calling you, so we can go here and answer the phone. That is going to be the first step into notifications for calls, because in the next step, we are actually going to use the system UI, similar to how you see on your device whenever you receive a WhatsApp call or something like that. You see the system UI displaying the call, and you can right away answer or close it. And then you can also go to the to the phone book, and you see that in the history. We're gonna try to implement that as well. Let me just see how it's gonna work on Android. So let me do here, I think I called it Android at sign in. Do I have it? No, let's sign up. Let's say Android. We can try to also upload an image. We don't have any. Will I find some images? I'm gonna add this beautiful image for our new course. Where is it? Come on. I don't know. Where is this one? What's happening here? Oh. My Android is just very, very slow. So let's press update. Did it update? What do you think? Let's try to reload. And yes, it is. Now I can go here, find, what's this user? Vadim Savin. Where is he? Here. Hello. Okay, I receive a message from Android. If I close the application and send here a message, will it work? Oh, because we didn't set the background message handler. We need, for Android, we need to set this background message handler for notifications to work in background. On iOS, it works by default, but here on Android, it's also in this documentation for push notification. If we scroll down a bit, yeah, on iOS, receiving notifications when background or quit state. For iOS, since the notification field is present on iOS, it is automatically picked up by the Firebase again and displayed to the user when the application is not in foreground. On Android, we need to listen to the notifications in the background. We need to use the set background message handler method. This handler works only on Android. For this handler to work on iOS, the payload must be customized data only. But for iOS, it works for us. We don't need the function. It's only like if you need adjustments, like how you want to present the notifications. When the notification is triggered, you can display the notification on Android by to set up outside your application logic as early as possible. So we need to set it up outside our application logic. And to do that, in our case, I'm interested, how are we going to get the user ID? Probably we're gonna have to save it in storage because this is running background. data rest extract and merge stream object. Where do we need this message here? Only to get the message text. Okay, I think I can handle that without it. So first things first, where can we do this? As we can see, it tells us to do it as soon as possible and outside our application logic. The thing is that that would be like the index file, but because we are using Expo router, we don't have an index file. So what we are gonna do now is we're going to create an index.ts file, and we're gonna, in the package.json, we're gonna move from Expo router entry to index or this folder index.ts. Now this is going to be the entry point of our application. I think I can safely close everything and try it again. And the thing that we need to do in index is first of all import expo router /entry, so that we still are using the Expo router entry. But then we can console log configure our background notifications. Let's try to where everything is closed. I can close some of these terminals. And I can do npm start. Authorization status. Where is it coming from? I don't know. Let's try to reload some of our applications. I'm gonna switch to development build and then press I or reload. How can you deal with font scaling in normal React Native application? Like the most basic one would be to get the device size and then like do some if statements, like if device size, like you have a base font and then based on the device size, you have like different breakpoints. Like on a small phone, you decrease it. So as we can see, that configure from index is being called, which means that this file is being invoked and everything is working back as it was working before. And there we can import this messaging from Firebase and go ahead and set the background handler for the remote messages. Okay, let's do it like this. Console log remote message, and we can actually do here remote message. Let's just console log to see what do we see there. So I think it was configured there. The background listener is there. Can go to Android and let's try to send here something. And we have a console log remote message. We have data, we have channel. Maybe I can even do JSON.stringify remote message null then2, and we could try again. But we need to open the application on Android again so that we update this background handler. Telegram. And then we go in background and we send another message. It doesn't want, but I can take it in a JSON formatter. So what do we see? We see data, with channel ID, channel type, ID, message, the sender, the type, from, and time, and send time. Okay. So based on the documentation, what we should do, if here, like I'm not sure like where we're gonna get the user ID here from. You can also provide token provider instead of static token. User ID. Okay, the user ID, I might understand where we're gonna get it from. We can write it to async storage and then read it here. But the user token, I'm not sure we're gonna be able to send a request to Supabase without the user being authenticated, like in background. We can adjust our function to be able to generate even for unauthenticated users, but we should think about like security there. So let me just try something. Console log await token provider. Let's see what is going to happen if we call token provider to generate the token. I'm going to open Telegram here. We get in the application, and then if we're in background, actually it worked. That's a bit weird for me. But maybe not, because it's using Supabase. But it's not authenticated. Very interesting. Where do we get the user ID? In the providers, in the auth provider, here we have session, Supabase, auth get session. What's gonna happen if I do that here? Not in the token provider, but in the notification provider, not in the index itself. Supabase get session. Maybe we can do here a wait, or yeah, let's import it first. Const response equal await, and then we don't need the dot then. We're gonna receive data, so I can destructure data, and I can check console log data. Let's see if even the data is there from Supabase, then it's weird because I don't expect it to be there because it's in the background, like it's even outside of our application code. Like I don't know where it's taking the user token, first of all. Oh, and maybe the token generation is for an anonymous user, not for actually our user. Yes, I believe like now it's going to fail. Authorization status 1, okay, we go here, we do that. We have access token, we have session. Okay, maybe Supabase is actually storing maybe Supabase is storing this on the device storage. So that's good. That means that we have everything to generate to implement the same thing as we have here, handling the message. So we have client set token. Let's do that together with the stream chat get. So stream chat because we know the ID of a message, we just need to get information about that message. So stream chat get, here we're gonna use process.env expo public stream API key. This way, create a stream chat client. Then for the user ID, we're gonna take it from the data. Data.session dot data.user.id, I think. Yes. Or data.session, let's see. Data.session.user.id. ID. And for the user token, I'm gonna simply give a token provider because we saw that it works. Now handle the message. Client get message remote message.data.id. Why my is not working? Because it should be async. Yeah, we do that. No, I don't know. Oh, because it can be string. But anyway, I think it's gonna work. So let's look here, console log message. Or we can continue here with creating the Android channel using Notify. Let's import Notify. How to import it? Notify from Notify React Native here. Create channel. So we're creating a channel through which we're going to be able to send notifications. Display notification. So we are getting some data there and then display notification. And that's it. It's a bit more boilerplate than compared to iOS. But you can adjust a lot of things here. Cannot redeclare data because we already have data here. So maybe I can destructure right away the session and I can do here like this. And if session.user, maybe with a question mark, then we can return and console log error no active of session, because maybe that's also might happen. So after all of this done, we see new message from and the message username and then the body. Okay, let's see if it's gonna work. Let's open back our Telegram application so that we execute this background handler. Then let's send a message. Send. Please work. No, it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. Maybe I should close the application, open it once. Then close it here and only then send the notification. Yes, we have a notification. We have a notification. New message from Vadim Savin, and here is the message body as we presented here using the Notify library. Perfect. So Android notifications are also working. We can press and it will open the application. You can later follow this guide next to listen to user interactions so that we can get the initial notification and then navigate whenever we want. Because now the notification will simply open pressing the notification will simply open our application. But we want to probably open and also redirect to the channel from where it's coming from. So that's also possible, but you're gonna have to add this get initial notification and on background event. So follow the guide later. But I'm pretty happy that we have notifications working both on iOS and on Android. So I can do git add, git commit, push notifications for iOS and Android. Ooh, that was interesting. We have around 30 more minutes. So what I want to try to show you is how we can get the system UI, how is it called? Let me see if it's this one, React Native in Call Manager. No, it's not in Call Manager, it's the other one. Yeah, the system notification for this one. The system display when receiving a call. To do that, let's go ahead in the documentation. We're going to stop here for the chat messaging. But again, I recommend following along because there is a lot of things that you can implement here on top of these notifications. We have it working, but you can improve from here. So I'm gonna go ahead and open a new file to show you the next setup. The next setup for us is going to be under the developer, video and audio calls, under React Native documentation, and let's go under the advanced guides for push notifications. Sorry, overview. We saw that the basic notifications for calls are working. So if I'm going to call it like this, come on. We see the notification, we can open and we are redirected here. But we want to use actually the system UI for that. It sends for ringing calls and live calls that are about to start. So let's go ahead under the push providers. Firebase. I think I'm just gonna make sure that we have everything because we have already done this configuration and it is the same configuration as it is used for the chat. So we have done that. For the call kit, which is the one giving us access to this ringing call and making outgoing calls, we have to actually set up also APNs directly with Stream Chat. So let's go to the push provider's Apple push notification, and this page will show how to receive stream video push notification to make VoIP calls with Call Kit using Apple push notification services. Okay. We need this, how to pronounce it, I'm already a bit tired, VoIP, IP, VoIP certificate. So this one is the most like weird thing that can happen. Like we're gonna have to do a lot of stuff and it can be quite confusing. So let's go ahead and follow it together. So in order to create that, go to developer account, select certificates, and create a new certificate. Make sure to select Apple Push Notification Service SSL, located under the services, follow the stream. So let's go ahead under our Apple developer account. Apple developer account. Is it this one, account? Yeah. Under the certificate and IDs and profiles, I think we need a, do we need a certificate? Create a new certificate. Yeah, let's go to certificates. Here, we need to create a new certificate. From this page, we are going to go to the services and enable Apple Push Notification Services SSL, Sandbox and Production, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check the documentation. Sandbox and Production. That's it. Go ahead at the top, press continue. For the Apple ID here, you're going to select your Apple identifier for the project. How is it called? Telegram. Continue. We need to upload the certificate signing request. To manually generate one, you need a certificate signing request from your Mac. That's the funny part. So from here, let's press learn more how to generate this certificate signing request. To create a certificate signing request, we're going to use the keychain access on your Mac to create this one. So let's open the keychain. Here it's going to be interesting. I'm going to go from this to that. First step is go to keychain access. I'm going to close it for a second. In this keychain access, what do we have to do? Choose keychain access, certificate assistant, request a certificate from a certificate authority. Yes, it's not on this window. It's actually in the menu. Press on the key access, and I'm sorry that you cannot see this, but I cannot change anything at this moment. Just press like at the top in your navigation bar. When this keychain access is open, press on keychain access name. Then from there, we need to press on certificate assistant, and then request a certificate from a certificate authority. So after you do that, you're gonna see this window to request a certificate. In the dialog, enter an email address, and under user email address field, okay. In the common name, okay. Leave a CA email address field empty. Choose save to disk. Let's choose here save to disk. And press continue. I'm gonna save it probably on desktop. Save. And yeah, I have an old one. Let's replace it. That's it. I can show in Finder, and I have this certificate there. Using this certificate that we just generated, I can upload it here. Can I do it like this? Yes. After uploading it here, we can create our push notification services. Let's press continue. Now we can download this file. The problem is that this file is .cerr. And if we go back to the getstream documentation, we see that we need to convert the aps.ser to a .p12 certificate, and we can do that using keychain access and upload it to our dashboard. Okay, I don't know how to do that, but we can Google it. I mean, there is no way to remember this kind of stuff, like all the certificates. So how to convert a dot here. Keychain, ensure you have selected login. Go to certificates, look for the desired certificate, ensure that you have expanded it. At this moment, you should be able to export it. Okay, so we need to open again keychain access. I have it on the side, I have it here. Ensure you have selected login keychain. Here in the left, go to the login. I'm gonna move it away. So then go to these certificates, login certificates. Look for the desired certificate. The problem is that if we search it by name, which is the file downloaded is APS, it's not gonna find it because it has another name. And I remember how I found its name because it has a different name. How to find the name? Maybe you can try with this command line as well, the command as well. I think it might work even easier. But how to find the name of a certificate? This from here. Let me try to double press on it and see what's happening. Oh, but it's not this one. Or is it? How to find the name of a certificate? Anyone has any ideas? I'm gonna get there. Oh, I think I know. If we look into the certificate, there is the certificate name. So let's try to find it by this name inside our keychain access. Yes, I found it. Go to login, search it by your certificate name here, and it should be here. Now back to that Stack Overflow. Now I have to expand it. Can I do? So what do we do after we find it? Export, okay. From the keychain, if we click, we see export, Apple, and so on. Let's try to do that. And we're gonna export file format P12, okay. Certificate under the documents. I don't know, I can do it even on the desktop. Save. Okay, enter a password which we'll use. Don't set any passwords. I think we don't have to set any passwords. And here I need my password, right? And just like that, we finally have this P12 certificate. We can take it, go back to the documentation and see what do we do with it. So having this one, make sure you configure no password, and we go to the dashboard. In order to configure, you need to visit menu, okay, under video, push notifications, new configuration, and choose APN. So back to our dashboard, let's go to video and audio under the push notifications. We have a Firebase, but we need a new configuration for APN. I'm gonna call it APN. I'm gonna provide here that certificate that I just generated, this one, and bundle topic ID. What's that? Bundle and topic ID, your application bundle ID. Yeah, it should be your bundle ID, in my case Telegram. Let's press create. Okay, now Stream is configured for remote notifications and for the VoIP for iOS. Let's see what do we have to do next. The ringing setup using Expo. The next step is to configure the ringing setup. This is the ringing setup for Android and iOS. We added the push provider, both Firebase and iOS APN. Now we need to install the dependencies. We have Firebase up, we have this one. We need the React Native VoIP push notification. We don't have it. If I check it, no, we don't have it. So let's do npx expo install React Native VoIP push notification, and the callkeep. Let's check if we have it. We don't have it, so we can use it as well. Oh no, oh no, what's happening? So npx expo install this one, and then React Native callkeep. And then I'm gonna do legacy peer depths. Enter. And we have them installed. I think we're gonna have to rebuild our application. So let's do npm npx expo run iOS. Maybe even like on the device as well, but we're gonna see. And so what do we need here? This one is for handling income push on iOS. Okay. Firebase credentials, we have done already that. We have done that. We will not be using, because we already set up APNs, we can directly use APNs for iOS. We will not be using Firebase for iOS, but it is necessary for the setup of React Native Firebase to have, okay. Add the config plugins. Oh, we didn't add the config plugins yet. So for the React Native Video SDK, I think we don't need to disable video on iOS because we have video, and I'm wondering like what's the default values, because it looks like this is just disabling. I don't want to disable this kind of stuff, so we can keep it there, but we need to set the callkeep there. So let's go into the app.json and add callkeep. And what else? That's it. I don't see anything else. So if your application is audio only, you need to disable video on iOS. Include field is used to show the history. Pass through to show the history of calls made on iOS. Maybe it's not going to be enabled by default, so I can configure them by going back to our app.json where we have, where is it? React Native Video SDK. Let's add it inside an array where the second one is going to be the configuration. So I can disable video in iOS false and include calls in recent. Let's put it true to include the calls in recent iOS. Now I can go ahead and build it again. And fail to resolve plugin. I think this plugin was not there. Let's try to install it. Call npx expo install config plugins React Native callkeep. No, npx expo install -- legacy pair depths. Really want to see this working. Come on. Francis, hello. How are you doing? Suprio. Everything is good. How are you? Should we... Will the Android have this setup by default? Because that one was only here. What's going to happen if I do? But I don't think so, because even the messages, we set them up manually. So let's find Android. Where is Android? Okay, our iOS is ready. This one here, if I call Android, I think I need to rebuild it. But if I'm gonna call iOS, and in another one, I'm actually gonna trigger npx expo run iOS -- to build it for my device as well. I really hope that it's gonna work. Let's go. With so many builds at the same time, like hopefully my computer is holding up. For Android, it was built. We might need some extra configuration. We might need this one. We can also disable Firebase in the iOS initialization by having firebase.json. VZK automatically processes the incoming push notifications once the setup above is done. If the push config has been set using set push config. To do this, follow the step. Oh, so we need to set push config. Add the ability to statically navigate to screens in your application. When a user taps on the push notifications, come on, it's running here. Why it's not running here? Too many builds at the same time. That's risky. That's very risky. While this is done, I still believe like we need the next step. We need the set to call this set push config to set up the configuration to be able to be used later. So I'm going to skip this because this one is going to handle the navigation, but I'm going to go to right away to set push config. So let's create the utils set push config file under source utils. Let's create a new file, set push config. And there, let's import all of this. And set it there. Let's test even without this push config. I'm going to close this one. And I'm going to be optimistic and think that it's going to work, but most probably it's not going to work. So let me try. From Android, I'm calling and it's not working. As you can see. So that means that indeed we need to call this set push config. The stream, let's fix this file. The stream API key is going to be from our process.env. So let's copy the name, and for the stream, where do we need it? Stream API key here. Let's do process.env.expo public. Okay. Token provider, we will import it because we have that function. Token provider. User ID is trying to get it from there. In my case, I'm going to hard code it for a second because I'm really a bit pressed by time. I'm gonna look at the chat messages, explore users, and I'm gonna take my ID. But what's my ID? Let me console log it in the auth provider. Here, console log ID. Console log session dot user dot ID. So what's the user ID? It's this one. Let me quickly set it up in this config. I don't need the username. I don't need user ID. I'm gonna use this hard-coded user ID with no name. Next, what's up here? Static navigation. I don't need it because I didn't implement it. So I'm going to comment out this static navigation. Is Expo is true, that's important. Push provider name. Push provider name. It's if it's push provider name. Other push provider name for iOS. For iOS, that's APN. And for Android, push provider name, that's Firebase. For Android, incoming. Okay, 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 okay. Let's try now. If I reload, oh, but I need to call this set push in our index file. Set push config. So now I'm going to reload. Expo notification library is not installed. Expo notification library. Yes, we need to also install this Expo notification library. Oh boy, I'm not managing. npx expo install expo notifications legacy pure depths. Come on. Now will you work without a reload? If I'm gonna call Vadim here. But if I'm gonna call the other one, let me do a new build for the device. For iPhone, please. I think it's gonna work. The limit is to be in 4 hours. So I have 4 more minutes. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna be quite sad. Let's get ready. And whew, here we have it. So from Android, I'm gonna try to call this one, my device. 4 minutes left. Okay, build successful. But why it's in on Android? Oh, no, it's okay. It's launching here. Device, come on. We need to run, we need to load. Let's do it fast. Okay, it's here. I'll go back, and from Android, I'm gonna call test. Let's call. And please, come on. Something? No? Call created. Permission can be queried, assuming granted. What account I have here? It's test. Why it doesn't work? Please. So now it works. Not here. Oh, because I'm, wait a second. I'm signed in with a different account here. Let me try with that, with one. With Vadim. Reload. 2 minutes left. Will I be able to do it? Is it the same ID as in the config? Yes. Now if I'm gonna call, please, why not? Why not? APN, Firebase. I don't manage. No. Maybe the token is not there. So let's try token. Token. No, I don't manage. So I'm gonna come with some details on our website with what's going on there. Token provider .van console log. So it's this token. Come on. All right, guys, I didn't manage. I'm gonna come with the details, what to fix a bit later. But that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you next week with new tutorials. Bye, guys. See you next week.